Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. Go check it out.
All right. By the way, go check out American-Giant.com. Use the promo code HAM.
Go.
Good gear. Okay. The cost of Jimmy Garoppolo, the opportunity cost of Jimmy Garoppolo, as much as you and I love and are loving the next month ahead as the Niners try to pick a quarterback at number 3, it's really the sexiest thing you can do around draft season. The best thing you can do, the sexiest thing ultimately you can do in the NFL is win. And right now, the 49ers are trying to plug a hole at the hardest position to plug a hole at, which is quarterback. And you start thinking about the year they had. They got the 12th pick. All the quarterbacks that are going to get drafted high in this draft. 12 is a really good pick to have. The Eagles at 12 right now have a really good pick. And it's an example of what the Niners are missing out on by needing to go back and kind of fix this position that they thought maybe they had settled. I thought they did. And now that it's not, maybe they get the quarterback of the future here, and it's all good. But if Jimmy had been your guy, somebody's going to go 12 that maybe could have been theirs.
Think about this, guy. Last year, the Niners had the 13th overall pick, and they traded back one spot to take Kinlaw. And at 13, Wirfs, who was, just an all-time home run pick so far for Jason Light, like a Pro Bowl elite dude, and he was the last tackle off the board. It went Wirfs and Kinlaw. Well, part of the reason that those two guys were available, right, 3 quarterbacks went, Burrow, Tua, and Herbert. So it pushes top guys down. Now, we'll see on Kinlaw, but when you're 6'6", 310 pounds, and you are coming from the SEC, like, that guy's just going in the top 10 most years. But he didn't because he got pushed down. Same with Wirfs. Like, last year is a good example. This year has 5 quarterbacks. Add 2 other Herberts and Tuas. It would have been like Herbert, Tua, and then another Herbert and Tua. Think those players, so it's like, okay, do you want Ruggs? Do you want one of the other tackles, or Kinlaw or Wirfs? That's what's happening. Now, this year's a little different. There's only 2, I think, sweet tackles. But the difference is there are a couple sweet corners. There are some really good wide receivers. There's Kyle Pitts, who you see some of his numbers yesterday. He ran like a 4.4 flat at 260 or 245 pounds. Freak. Like, you would just have an unreal option, right?
Well, and I think when we talk about specifically what the Niners need, now I know you don't love the idea of drafting a corner high in a draft, but
unless you think he's just like a drop dead can't miss Patrick Peterson type.
Yeah, well, but it's just exactly what you described. That there might be even the opportunity for that this year. Picking at 12, you'd get a great player. You might get a great player at 14 this year, right? You might even have a trade back opportunity and still get a good player.
It does feel like the Bama defenders recently, Minkas, the linebackers, they've been pretty not many misses. Like, if you just told me the Niners took Patrick Surtain at 12, I'd be like, yeah, I bet he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You ever heard of his dad? Was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
This guy, pretty good player. Started from Nick day one. I'd be like, I'll take my chance with a 5-star kid.
Yep.
When all else fails, I'll just go with the FCC. It's my issue, like my non-issue with Kinlaw. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, you see that human being?
Yeah. So
we talked about that
the
before.
Opportunity cost. It's the same thing we talk about with McGlinchey, but it's just on a much. It's much more in the moment right now. But if in a year they're looking for another right tackle, it's going to be the same conversation, just not as on big a scale as it is with Garoppolo, right? You'd like, if you're going to be bad, to not have to double down on how bad you were to really get what you want. Like, if you're going to be bad, just hopefully that pick's good enough to. You don't have to put more money in. Like, the Niners had to put more money in to move up because part of the reason they were bad was the quarterback situation. But at 12, they weren't bad enough.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to be bad, you'd love to be so bad that, all right, we're just third.
Yeah.
And we don't have to add money in order to buy what we need to fix ourselves.
It was ultimately the good thing about sucking that year with Nick Bosa is they ended up at 2. Because the Raiders, who were equally as shitty, ended up at 4. And that was just a major, like, that was a problem. Like, there was a big difference between Nick Bosa and Cleveland Farrell. Right now, ultimately, they picked the wrong guy. If they would have picked Devin White, they would have been happy as shit. So it's a double whammy. I think when we look back at the draft, and there's a chance at 12 you go, God, let's just say hypothetical. Let's say Mac Jones ends up actually going like 15th, and you go, God, and he turns out to be the best quarterback of the bunch. Like, you could have just said, well, you can always play that game after the fact. But I just know for when you don't need the quarterback, you always have the options when you're drafting in the top 15 to draft sweet players, right? Because often, like, J.J. Watt is better than the guy that went 5th, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about Colton Miller the other day.
Yeah, who went 15th. You just go back and peek at that draft, right? I mean, he's just like Roquan Smith, Colton Miller, like that was 8 and then 15, and Josh Rosen went 10. And it's just like, I love reacting to the draft, and it's awesome. And the letter grades that have been going on forever, like Mel Kiper gave this team a B. Yes, well, it's really based on what Mel thought about the players that they drafted, right? It's not based on like how good it's going to be.
Right.
Because there's that famous thing that the Eagles fans always love to show, that the year Doug Peterson was hired, there were like 7 hires, and he was ESPN, he was an F. And like, I forget who the A was. It might have been McAdoo, with the Giants. And it was just, I remember he was by far the last guy, and it just showed that the heat of the moment, same with coaching hiring, same with the draft. Oh yeah. Or no. I remember Alden Smith is a great example. Like, who? What'd they do? And then 2 years later, it's like, oh my God, this guy's sweet.
Well, it's part of the reason you give the Raiders so much credit. It's not just that they drafted Colton Miller and developed him. It's that they moved back and did it. And the guys drafted between McGlinchey and Colton Miller were Rosen, Fitzpatrick, Vita Vea, Deron Payne, Marcus Davenport.
That draft's pretty good.
I'm realizing as I'm looking at it that I might have spelled Colton Miller's name wrong on a video we did. God damn it, I did. Did anyone correct me?
How do you spell it?
There's 2 O's in his name.
Colton?
That's what it says here.
How would you spell it?
Yes, Kolton, not Kolten.
Oh.
I'm sure I'm getting yelled at in the YouTube comments on that one.
That's a really good draft. Roquan Smith, Vita Vea, Colton Miller, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, even Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's not terrible.
18. This is part of the fun of it. Yeah, I mean,
who went
DJ
2?
Moore. What's that?
Who went 2 in that draft?
Saquon.
Did you see the comments that John Morrow said? Like, yeah, we're not really thinking on a contract extension right now. That's the one thing. This gets back to my Jed Mark Davis takes. The owners out here don't talk like that. Out there, it's like, yeah, we're not really feeling a contract. Like, they will just say things that, like, Formula One level.
Like, prove yourself,
damn,
man.
The owner just said, like, yeah, we got fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I obviously, when the Niners signed Jimmy Garoppolo, I thought it was the right thing to do, because here we are. They're in position where they can get out of it if they need to, and we think they need to, unfortunately. And they're in that position because he was hurt. He's been not good.
They think they need to. They traded 3 first-round picks to move up.
But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't. It's easy to say now you shouldn't have done that. But I understood it. I supported it at the time, so I can't change how I felt about it then. But they did it. And now it's easy to say they should have gotten Tom Brady. They didn't. And he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Have you seen some of Robert Kraft's comments? He ain't happy either.
That's another good one. But here they are, still trying to fix this thing that we thought they had fixed. And maybe they fix it. Maybe they fix it right now.
Well, they better, like I said.
But it costs the rest of the roster because they're in this position. Not just because they're not drafting not just because they're not drafting a corner, but also because they had to give up other picks to do this. So, yeah, Garoppolo, what did you trade for Garoppolo? A second? Oh, yeah. Didn't cost you anything. Yeah, it's costing you a lot right now.
Yeah.
It's costing you 2 other ones. Jimmy Garoppolo ultimately just cost you 2 other ones. Like, you traded
and a third.
A second and 2 ones and a third right now for Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. Look at it that way.
You did during that period of time make a Super Bowl.
It's true.
Yeah, it's the only bright. It's the only bright note.
I'm not trying to say undo the whole thing or never have done it. I'm just saying now the butterfly effect of all of it has cost you 2 other ones.
Agreed.
Would you do it all over again? I think you would, because to your point, you did go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.